Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh, that was wimpy. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. Happy Easter. Gotcha. Happy Easter. There we go. We'd like to welcome you to Unity Spiritual Life Center in Yakima. We're so glad you chose to join us this morning, whether it be in person here or online. We welcome you all. So let's sing a song of praise. So let's go ahead and stand up and go ahead and
Good morning. My name is Marilyn Freed, and I'm a part of the prayer team here at Unity of Yakima, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you here this morning. And for anyone that's new or here for the very first time, we want you to know that you are welcome wherever you are on your spiritual journey. That is one of the precepts that we carry here at Unity, because we're all on different parts of our journey, our spiritual journey. So now I'm going to light the Christ candle. And we light this candle to remind us of the Christ presence that is within each and every one of us. So if we can come together now, if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes in prayer. We acknowledge the joy and the love of knowing that that Christ presence is within us always. We're grateful for this time to come together and remember on this special day that that Christ presence lifts us up just as it did the Christ in this day that we celebrate today. We are one, we are together, and we give thanks for the opportunity to remember. And so it is. Amen.
So now if you're comfortable in doing so, rest back in your chairs, take a deep breath and release it. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Focus on the daily word. Our word for today is arise. I welcome my resurrection experience. In Mark's gospel, the women who came to anoint Jesus's body on Easter morning flee in terror when finding the tomb empty. They are told Jesus has been raised. Stories from early Christian communities describe a transformation from fear to faith as Jesus's early followers come to realize that not even death can hold the Christ Spirit captive. With joyous faith, Jesus's followers greet one another, declaring, "He is risen," and affirming, "He is risen indeed." Letting go of fear, I say yes to my resurrection experience. Guided by the resurrecting power of the Christ Spirit within me, I am set free from the tomb of lack and limitation. I follow Jesus into the light of new awareness, a new dimension of life. Christ is risen in me. And from Mark 16:6, but he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here."
Staying in this place of quietness, we take that in. We take in that message that there is no reason for fear. Fear cannot abide in the presence of love. And that's what Easter is all about. That just when we thought that we were somehow separate from that love, it rises within us. And we find new reason for living. So take a breath in, breathe in that love. And as you breathe out, let go of the fear. We can relax. Feel your shoulders relax. Relax into that love that is in us, around us, holding us, supporting us. There is nothing that we can do and nowhere that we can go that we will be away from that love. For that is what our source, the one we might call God, is. And that's good news. Such good news. I invite you to breathe it in again, the good news. Breathe out any tension. And allow yourself to be filled with new life. As we come into the silence, we're going to spend a little time with it. If you're not familiar with being in the silence for a while, just remember to breathe when your mind starts getting busy. Just breathe in the love. Breathe out all fear. Love in. Fear gone. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for meeting us in the silence. And as our prayers continue, we move our attention out into our community and beyond as our prayer partner leads us in prayers for the community.
So staying in this space, bring to mind anyone that's on your heart. Bring them to mind and hold them for a moment in this sacred space. It could be a friend. It could be a family member. It could be someone in this community that is not present here today. We do know that in spirit, there is no separation in time or space. And so in this moment, simply whisper their names. God knows what is on their hearts. So just by saying their names, they are part of this time together. We also call for the presence of our leaders, as they work to lift up our communities, our countries, our world. And we see them also guided by the strength and the love that comes from the divine. So now take another breath in and relax and let it go. And tuck these moments into your heart, knowing that at any time and any day, when you may feel afraid or alone, that this knowing that there is nothing to fear is always there. All we need to do is ask. And for this we say, thank you, God. Amen. We are holy.
I need to take off my mask to breathe. My name is Tracy and I'm a member of the board here, and I have the honor of introducing Cheryl today, my birthday buddy.
Yeah.
We're both April 24th babies. Well, it's really the fun. It fits. I started attending Unity here about 3 years ago, about the time that Cheryl retired. So we didn't quite cross paths. But my understanding is that she was minister here for 13 years. And in that 3 years she's been gone, she's been kayaking and snowshoeing and enjoying being newlywed. As well she should. It's a wonderful thing to celebrate. And so I want you to join with me in welcoming her back. I'm thrilled that she's here, and I'm sure that you are as well. And we're anxious to hear her lesson that she's prepared for today. Cheryl.
Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, Sylvia, for all my favorite songs. I love it. Hello, Unity of Yakima. I say hi to all of you who are here in person and to all of you who are watching on Zoom. And I might even have a couple of friends from my days at Unity Village, Jennifer and Florence. I don't know if they're there, but if you're there, hi. It is so good to be with you. It is so good to be with you. I know there have been a few changes. Let's get this out of the way first. Ms. Clairol and I parted ways. Goes to say that even Celtic princesses get to go natural. And as Tracy said, I got married to Jackson on August 3rd of 2019. That was kind of an unexpected surprise. Then I kept pretty busy for a couple of years doing consulting with other Unity churches. Wished I could have come and consulted with you, but that wasn't supposed to be. And then COVID came. And I just really didn't like doing ministry, trying to consult with churches through Zoom. And yet I really admire all those who have continued on in ministry, doing this, finding ways to make it work. And good on you. You guys have done fabulous. Give yourselves a hand. So in last September, I became fully retired so that Jackson and I could go play anytime we wanted. And now here I am. I'm back not as your minister and as a guest speaker and as one who hopes that we can, over the next months, find a way for me to come in and be part of this community that's different from the way it was before. I know we can do it. But that's enough. That's catch up. You probably all do it anyway since you're on Facebook. Let's talk about what it means to be together in this community that we call Unity on this Easter, this day for celebrating what it means to open up to new life right here and right now. How can we wake up and rise up to know again who we came here to be as individuals and as Unity Spiritual Life Center of Yakima? Well, let's begin with that word unity. Back in 1889, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore had both had dramatic physical healings that they were teaching others how to pray and do the healing of their bodies that they had experienced. And so they decided to put out a publication. And the first name of the publication was Modern Thought. Modern Thought, because the whole idea was that it is with our thoughts that we can change our lives. Well, that was okay, pretty good, but they're not quite specific enough. And then they decided to call themselves Christian Science Thought. Well, Mary Baker Eddy got a little upset by that because she was the one that started Christian Science. So they, okay, never mind. And then they just called it thought. And that was a bit too general, and the kinds of submissions that people were giving to them told them that really wasn't, that's not really who they were. So it was the spring of 1891, 130 years ago, that Charles and Myrtle were sitting in the silence with some of their friends. Now, sitting in the silence is that coming into meditation. And all of a sudden, the word unity flashed through Charles' mind. Now, he hadn't been trying to think of a name or anything. And in his usual enthusiastic way, Charles jumped up and said, "That's it, unity. That's the name of our work, the name that we've been looking for." And that's how unity came into being. Unity began to rise in consciousness. Well, did you know that unity in Yakima also had a history of name changes? Back in the 1930s, when they were meeting in the old Masonic Hall downtown, it was called I don't know if it was called the Unity Metaphysical Center or just the Metaphysical Center. Does anybody else know that history? Well, I guess it doesn't matter then. Whatever I say is okay. So they were that for a while, and then they moved here and they became Unity Church of the Valley. Now, some of you do remember that, right? Unity Church of the Valley. In 2004, Reverend Sandra Soley Keep, who was my predecessor and the one who got me interested in unity, she led the congregation through a time of discernment together to see if there might be a name for unity that would more clearly describe some of the unique message that unity has for the world, rather than Unity Church of the Valley. And the discussions were sometimes heated, I understand, and not everybody was happy, but they finally took a vote and the majority spoke, and we became Unity Spiritual Life Center. Change is hard. Have you noticed that? But it happens, and it moves us forward. So I want us to look a little closer at this name that you have, Unity Spiritual Life Center, to understand who you, and can I say we, who we are. When we're clear about who we are, it may give us new inspiration for moving forward after the challenges of this COVID quarantining and the heartbreak of having a minister that didn't work out. As we remember who we are, we once more can see our spiritual community rising to new life. So what does unity stand for? Well, it's a way of looking at the world that sees that everything is connected. Nothing is left out. All things are part of the oneness. We are part of something so grand, so intricate and infinite in its workings that we can't even find the words to describe it fully. We use words like God or infinite mind or higher power or all that is or simply love. The word unity points us to a field of energy in which we all move and live and have our being. And here's the faith part. We believe that this presence and power all around and in us is absolutely good. That's what we're living in. That's what we are. Even when sometimes it feels like we're not. We're good. If you drive up to where Jackson and I live on 75th Avenue, and our garage door is open, you will see Olivia Outback and Faith Forrester. And if you come up a little bit closer, you will see our license plates. Olivia says, notice. Just notice. And Faith says, we are one. And that has become kind of our mission in life, is to begin to notice everywhere how we are one and to be that oneness wherever we go. Oh, yeah, we don't always do it. But that is our mission. We try, don't we? We do. So it's easy when we're around people that are on the same wavelength to feel like everything's one, right? That feels good. But where's the growth in that? And that is what we're here for, isn't it? To grow into the fullness of our being, to become the expressions of divine love and light that we were created to be. And have you noticed how our greatest growth often happens? Not as we stay safe in our little cocoons. It happens as we face life's challenges, when people and situations push our buttons. And sometimes it's the person closest to you that pushes the hardest. No. No thumbs down now, come on. No, we grow from that chaos. It is in the middle of the chaos that we begin to do the creative work. We choose. Will we react from fear, or will we respond with love? And that's why some of us came here to Unity in the first place, because we wanted to learn how to live with more peace and more joy and more love. And we want it to be on a spiritual path that helps us feel connected with the source of all these things, that joy, that peace, that love. A spiritual path, Unity Spiritual Life Center. Sometimes we say it that we are spiritual, not religious. Have you ever used that little word? What do we mean by that? What do we mean by spiritual but not religious? You're not going to tell me. Okay, I'll tell you. It means something along the lines of there is no dogma. There is nothing that you have to say you believe in order to be part of this community, because every person is able to do the exploration of faith on their own, but it's so much more fun to do it with other people, right? And so the dogma, we have 5 principles that give you some idea of what unity is all about, but you don't even have to say you believe in those 5 principles to be here. And there is an even deeper meaning to the idea of spiritual, not religious. We believe that every person has the power to experience a connection with God for themselves. There's no certain ritual that we have to do. No minister, and I really have a hard time with this, but there's no minister needs to say certain words to us that we have to agree with in order for us to find that presence and power. It's as easy sometimes as taking a breath or stepping into a beautiful place in nature or hearing a song. I don't know where you find your bliss. It could be anywhere. But when you find it, you are in the presence and the power of that good. Yes, we do teach ways to pray and meditate at unity. But you are able to do this. Trust that. We are, as Wayne Dyer always said, spiritual beings having a human experience. So we are unity and we are spiritual. And those are not simply nice ideas, they are a reality for us. They are meant to become a way of life. Unity, spiritual life center. And I found these beautiful words I want to share with you about life. It's from The Way of Mastery. I don't know if any of you have ever read this book called The Way of Mastery. It's beautiful. It's like, it's much like A Course in Miracles, but it's in more modern language. It's very poetic and very deep. And here's what The Way of Mastery says about life. Life wants to breathe through you as magically and powerfully as it breathes through a thunderstorm, or the leaf in a tree, or the radiance in a newborn baby's eyes. That life is what you are. That life is the presence of God's love, the depth of the ocean welling up into the waves of creation. Let therefore that life alone be your guide in all things. And rest in appreciation before the infinite mystery that life is. And say yes to it. Say yes to life. That you are willing to let the fullness of it wash through you and carry you into an ever deepening understanding and comprehension of all that God is. You know, when I knew that Unity Spiritual Life Center was saying yes to life, clearly saying that, it was a few months ago when things were not going very well. Attendance was down, and so were Unity's finances. So the board put out a request for funds to help pay just even the basics of salaries and the light bill and all of that. And Jackson and I were, talking about whether we should send an extra tithe that month or whatever. And just about that time, we get an email that goes out to everyone saying, it's all there. We've gotten all the money that's needed to catch up. And that told me that you were not giving up in any way of having unity as a presence here in Yakima, that you value this community and you know that it's important here. And even when there were difficulties, you would stand in support of it. Yay! Unity rises to new life, even now. So as we continue to heal and to forgive from the stresses of this last year, may your love of life be so contagious that as people leave these services each week, they will go home feeling encouraged and empowered to live fully, deeply, gratefully. We are Unity Spiritual Life Center. We're at the last one. We are a gathering place, whether it's in this physical building or whether it's virtually through Zoom. Thank you all that are there. In geometry, the center of a circle is that point in which everything around the edge is at an equal distance. And I love that as a metaphor for our life as a center, that there is no one who is higher or lower, who is better or worse. We are all here and we all matter just as much as anyone else. And so are all the people out there. They matter. And so our circle, it doesn't have strict edges, does it? Our circle goes out into infinity. And just as your vision says, unity wants to see a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. That means we take it out in our life. We live it. We share it. We are it. So here you are, Unity Spiritual Life Center. You've been through a lot this last year, but Easter reminds us that love and life will always, always have the last word. We may sit in darkness for a time, but when dawn comes, we rise again. It's time, Unity, to rise into new life.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl, for that nice talk you gave us. Gives us all hope for tomorrow, doesn't it? So, the Rise Up song, this was a special request from Cheryl. We all love this song. I didn't do much of it when we were on Zoom because it's a hard one to do on Zoom. So we're gonna really enjoy this song.
Good morning again. My name is Jeannie Reed and I'm your platform assistant today. So let's go over our bulletin. There's a little change that is not in the bulletin for the midweek meditations. Beginning in April, we will have meditation on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. And the first Tuesday of the month is a healing meditation. It isn't on here. Wednesday morning meditation is going to continue at 10 o'clock, and we're going to drop the Thursday evening meditations. And then the Zoom link for our website is on here. Our speaker team, yay, Juanita, Kyle, and Marilyn have an impressive lineup of guest speakers clear through July. So yay, team. And then back on the back table, there are sign-up sheets for all kinds of volunteer opportunities that are available, and there's training to go with them if you would like to try something out. There's going to be a Wednesday morning book study. The group will start meeting again at Unity here at church each Wednesday morning at 10:45. And then our list of April speakers is on here. Do we have any other announcements?
A couple of weeks ago, a bunch of us went to the Labyrinth at Gilbert Park and did a memorial walk in honor of Babs Rankin. And the city Parks and Rec Department does a good job of keeping the lawn mowed. But the Labyrinth itself was getting kind of run over, and we talked about the possibility that maybe that could be a thing that we did, that we could go clean up the Labyrinth, and we just weren't sure it was okay to do that. So I talked to the man who was the head of the Parks and Recreation Department. His name is Ken Wilkinson. And he said they would love to have us do that. And he knew Babs personally and said that once a year, she would come into his office with a check for $150 from her own account and plop it down on his desk and inform him that this was to take care of the Labyrinth at Gilbert Park. And he had been to her home when she started getting sick and wasn't able to get out and about. And he thought she was just a delightful person, as did we. So we have permission from the Parks and Rec Department to go to the Labyrinth and clean it up. So I think if 5 or 6 or 7 of us went, it would just take us a couple hours. We just need to trim the grass back and clean up the aisles a little bit. And Scott has graciously agreed to be in charge of that. So we don't have a date. We don't have any particulars. Mr. Wilkinson said if we would do that and let him know when we were going to, or when we had, that he would send a city crew up to pick up all the debris that had been left behind. So if you are interested in doing that, get a hold of Scott and let him know, and we'll pick a date and a time that works for everybody, and we'll go up and clean up Babs's Labyrinth. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious to what the book is for.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's
We're meeting this Wednesday to decide which book we want to read.
oh, okay. All right.
We're meeting this Wednesday. We haven't met for a year. And that's to decide which book we want to read.
You have a list? Open up?
That's what we're doing Wednesday. One of the books, something about the owl, what was?
So one of the books we're thinking of is a delightful book called Wesley the Owl. And it's the story of a young woman who takes on a barn owl. And if you take on a barn owl, you have that barn owl for life. And they live a long time. And she had to create very special conditions, but it was an amazing relationship, beautiful, beautiful book. So that's one of the ones we're considering.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now if you'll join me in the affirmations. The prosperity affirmation.
I am open to divine ideas and use them to prosper my life.
Our vision.
A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of a shared spiritual awakening.
And our mission.
We empower individuals to collectively transform the world.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the good news about the labyrinth. I took my daughter and her roommate there, and then later I took my son, and we
The choir would like to share a song with you this morning. For the altar. Resurrection in you, resurrection in me, all things brand new when we believe in one life, one heart, one mind, and will we live the greatest story when we believe. I was living in the dark with a black cloud on my own. I was so blind I couldn't see, and the light began to shine. When I changed my mind, and I finally got the truth set me free. The truth will set me free. Resurrection right now, resurrection right here. Manifesting you are with a vision that's here. Resurrection is yours. When your mind is renewed, your spirit is reborn. Resurrection is ours. Resurrection is yours. When your mind is renewed, your spirit is reborn. Resurrection is ours. Resurrection is yours. When your mind is renewed, your spirit is reborn.
Divine Spirit, thank you for the flow of giving and receiving as part of our wondrous universe. Daily we receive all that is needed and more from the infinite abundance all around us. We pray blessings on these offerings, given with gratitude and joy. Thank you, God. All right. So we don't have little ones except for inside of all of us. So we are going to do our blessing and give it to one another and back to ourselves, right? We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. And thank you, music team, I should have said that. Birthday Sunday.
It's birthday Sunday. April birthdays too? We got some stickers. What? We got some stickers for our birthday, April birthday people? Wow. 24. Here's birthday. All right. You know, that is her birthday. Here we go. So now we'll all stand up and we'll do our prayer of protection.
The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And now our peace song, and it's on the banners, on the side and up on the screen.